Alright, last section of the trig unit, we're going to talk about solving a right triangle. Now, what you're going to use with solving a right triangle is trig plus Pythagorean theorem plus the fact that triangles add to 180 degrees with their interior angles. So solving a right triangle. When you do this, you're going to find all angles and sides. Okay. So you literally solve all the missing parts of your triangle. To do that, we're going to use trig. You can use Pythagorean theorem. You don't have to, but you could. And you're definitely going to want to use the fact that triangles have 180 degrees. Okay? So we got trig, Pythagorean theorem, and 180 degrees. That's what we're using here. I'm going to give you two examples of the two situations you will see, or you could see in these with these problems. So, first example. Might be something like this, and then x, y, z. Well, you look at that, you're like, man, I don't know where to start. I'm going to tell you right now. You've got two angles. Can you find that last angle pretty easily? Yeah. Add those guys together, subtract from 180, boom, 34. Z must be 34. And right like that, we've got part of our problem already done. Now I want to find x or y, and we're going to label from the angle that we're given. So I'm going to start from here, and I'm going to label the triangle opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. And we have to figure out which variable we want to find first. And it doesn't really matter. I'll find x first. If I want to find x, I'm going to use opposite and adjacent. That would be TOA. So now I'm ignoring these pieces, and I'm just going to find x. So I'm going to go TOA, or tan 56 equals opposite over adjacent, TOA. I'll zoom in here so you can see better. X is in the bottom, so I'm going to switch these guys. And I have x equals 15 over tan 56. Plug that into my calculator, and I'm going to get 10.1. So I know x over here equals 10.1. Now, technically, you have two options. You have two sides. You could use Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared to find the third side, or you could use trig. In my opinion, because we rounded here, we want to use trig, because if we use Pythagorean theorem with a rounded number, we're going to get this number just slightly different than if we straight up used a trig function. And trig functions are not too bad. If I want to find y, I'm going to go opposite and hypotenuse, and I'm using the information that I was given to start with. I'm not going to use cosine because I found that and I rounded it. So you want to use whole numbers or numbers that you started with when you're going to find a new variable, if you can. So we're going to go opposite hypotenuse. That would be sine. So we have sine 56 equals opposite over hypotenuse equals 15 over y. Here also we have our y in the bottom. Just like up here we have our variable in the bottom. So we're going to switch these guys. And we have y equals 15 over sine 56. Put that in your calculators and you're going to get 18.1. Boom. And at this point, we have solved our triangle because we have found the missing angle, so we know all the angles, and we found the two missing sides. We were given one, so now we have all three sides. Now, we started this problem by being given a 90-degree angle, one side, and one angle. The next one, I'm just going to give you two sides. So second example, what if we go 30, 20. XYZ. All right, well, here we go. With this problem, we could use Pythagorean theorem real quick to find our hypotenuse. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. If you want. I'll do that. I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I can go 20 squared plus 30 squared equals z squared. I am going to need to use my calculator most likely here. 400 plus 900 equals z squared. Combine my terms. And then square root both sides. So square root of 1300. $36.0555. Oh boy. Well, we're just gonna go 36.1 maybe. So I got my z. Now we're going to find x or y. And a little secret, it doesn't matter which one you want to find first. I'll just do x, because x comes before y alphabetically. And we're going to label opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Now we're going to want to use the opposite and adjacent. Why? Because we were given that number to start out, and we've rounded z. If we use z, our x is going to be slightly off. If we use these two guys that are whole numbers, that are numbers we were given, we're going to be able to get the exact answer for x. Opposite and adjacent, that would be OA, OA, TOA. So we go tan of x equals opposite over adjacent, OA. And now we need to get our x by itself. So we are going to take the inverse tangent of both sides. And now I have x equals inverse tangent of 30 over 20. Plug that into my calculator. Inverse tangent, 30 over 20. I'm getting 56.3099. So 56, maybe straight up. You are going to want to read what your question wants you to do. If you're supposed to round to the nearest angle, that's what we do. If we're going to round to the nearest tenth, it'd be 56.3. So it just kind of depends on what the problem wants you to find. Now, here you're almost done. And the reason why you're almost done is we've got all three sides now. Boom. We've got two angles. We haven't found the last one, but wait, all these angles are going to add to 180. Remember? So we can go we can add our two numbers, 90 and 56, and subtract that from 180. And say, hey, y is going to have to be 34 degrees. Boom. There we go. All right, so thanks for watching. I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 more examples from the IXL assignment on our examples video, so you can check that out. Thank you again for watching. Have a good day. Let me know if you have questions.